to you, the more you make me see. By giving me all you got, your love has captured me. Over and over again, I try to tell myself that we could never be more than friends. And all the while inside I knew it was real, the way you make me feel. Lying here next to you, time just seems to fly, needing you more and more. Let's give love a try. Sweeter than sweeter love grows, and heaven's there for those who fool the tricks of time. With the hearts of love, they find true love in a special way. The closer I get to you, the more you make me see. By giving me all you've got, your love has captured me. Over and over again, I try to tell myself that we could never be more than friends. And all the while inside I knew it was real, the way you make me feel. The closer I get to you, the more you make me see. By giving you all I got, your love has captured me. Closer I get to you, feeling comes over me. Me too. Pulling closer, sweet as the gravity. The closer I get. I heard he sang a good song, I heard he had a style, and so I came to see him to listen for a while. And there he was, this young boy, a stranger to my eyes, strumming my bed with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. I felt oppressed with fever. Peace, world, peace. Welcome or welcome back to Goddess Dawn Speaks. I am Goddess Dawn, aka the $1 trillion Goddess, aka the Queen of Info, baby. Happy Monday. And R.I.P. to the late, great Roberta Flack. She gave us a lot of hits. And she will be missed. Her music will live forever, though. And we will celebrate her through her music. I did want to chat about her real quick before getting into today's live, which I do have a lot of topics on the docket. But shout out to the warriors, the chosen ones here in the chat. Wow, Wayne, thank you as always. I see you. PJ Corleone popped in. Hey, no. Not sure if it's a happy Monday. Hey, happy Monday. Black Letter Law. Shout out to you. Hey, Juti. Yes. Celebrating a little Roberta Flack on the day of her passing. Let's get into it. Let me pull up the article on her and talk a little bit about her for a minute before we get into all the topics I got going on today, child. It seems like I've been gone for a long time. All right, so Roberta Flack, renowned singer, sampled by Fugees, Lil' Kim, and more, dies at 88. She had a lot of classics, or has a lot of classics. They say her death was attributed to cardiac arrest. Let me plug in my mic, see if that does any difference. Her death was attributed to cardiac arrest while she was being transported to a medical facility following her long battle with ALS. Wow. Renowned singer and pianist Roberta Flack, whose soulful voice and poignant ballads made her a defining figure in American music. She died on today, Monday the 24th, at 88 years old. Flack's death was attributed to cardiac arrest, like I said, as she was being transported to a medical facility. It follows her long battle with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, which she publicly disclosed in 2022. Her manager, Suzanne Koga, issued a statement at the time saying the disease has made it impossible to sing and not easy to speak, but it will take a lot more than ALS to silence this icon. They talk about her musical journey. It began in Black Mountain, North Carolina. She displayed a prodigious talent as a pianist. She received a scholarship to Howard University at just 15 years old, initially aspiring to be a concert pianist. But her career took a different path after she began performing in clubs and caught the attention of Atlantic Records. Hold on, let me change this. It's giving me some other people's music here. Hold on. Let me see if I can get some instrumentals up. Yeah, so her career took a different path after she began performing in clubs and caught the attention of Atlantic Records. Her debut album, First Take, was released in 1969 and featured The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. Oh, I know that song. The first time ever I saw your face, something like that, which became a massive hit after being featured in Clint Eastwood's film Play Misty for Me in 1972. Flack's legacy includes iconic hits such as Killing Me Softly with his song The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, both of which earned her Grammy Awards for Record of the Year and consecutive years, a first for any artist. Throughout her career, her music resonated with audiences and
influenced a new generation of artists across multiple genres. Her songs have been sampled by numerous hip-hop artists, bridging the gap between soul and contemporary music. Examples include the Fugees, who covered Flack's Killing Me Softly with his song for 1996, The Score. Where is the Love, sampled by Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg. Oh, where's the love? Where is the love? Something like that. Take Me Home, sampled by Terror Squad and Grown Ass Kid by Chance the Rapper, featuring Mick Jenkins and Alex Wiley. Lil' Kim also sampled Flack's Hey, That's No Way to Say Goodbye in the 1996 hardcore track Queen Bee. Wow. Flack's impact on music extends beyond her chart-topping hits. She was celebrated for her ability to convey deep emotion through song and for her contributions to the genre known as Quiet Storm. Her artistry has left an indelible mark on the music industry, influencing countless of artists along the way. The beautiful Roberta Flack. Wow. Let's see if I can get some applause here. Roberta Flack was amazing, to say the least. But yeah, let's move on. Got a lot of topics to cover today. I did have her in my story. Let me share this tab.
I felt all flushed with fever, embarrassed by that's the time. I feel like making love to you. That's the time.
So yeah, definitely much love and condolences to her family and loved ones. I'm gonna move on just to announce from Hot New Hip Hop that Kendrick Lamar and SZA's Luther officially snagged #1 spot on Billboard Hot 100. They say if the world was Kendrick Lamar and SZA's, they would probably bring about the world peace and global good vibes through their collaborations. Their GNX team up, Luther, officially reached the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 Songs chart, bolstered by Luther surpassing 500 million Spotify streams recently. This is K-Dot's 6th chart topper across his career and Solana's 3rd, and also sets a record for the Compton rapper. He is officially the first MC to score 4 #1s, preceded by Like That, Not Like Us, and Squabble Up over the course of 12 months. But of course, there is much more success to talk about. Along with this SZA track, Kendrick Lamar dominated the Billboard Hot 100 chart this week, dated March 1st, through various GNX cuts, and of course, Not Like Us, which earned the #2 spot this week. At #4 is TV Off with Lefty Gunplay, and the #5 is Squabble Up. What's funny is that Kendrick replaced himself on the chart last week. Not Like Us had returned to #1 on Billboard. Right. Can't nobody say Kendrick ain't hot. And can't nobody say it is all because of Drake, which I'm so sick of hearing the comparisons, to be honest. But yeah. Let me see. Let me get off of this here. So now we got to get into some dirty Diddy news, child. Dirty Diddy is what I call them. I'm going to move over to TikTok. This girl on TikTok who covers a lot of Diddy news and other news topics, she gave some insight. I think she said she got it from TMZ, but she gave some insight as to why Diddy's lawyer left his case. So let's check this out, what she is talking about.
Story time, how my husband had me committed for
that's
3
That's a different story. That's actually an interesting story too.
Diddy's lawyer quit because he said that Diddy is not ready for his criminal trial. And baby, this is not good. Diddy's trial is in 3 months and he stepped down saying that he doesn't agree with how Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's head of counsel, is moving forward with his case. A direct source to Anthony Rico told TMZ that his exit from Diddy's camp was over a power struggle going on between him and Mark Agnifilo, which is the lead attorney for Diddy, and it's been going on for several months, but it finally came to a head. They were told the battle within Diddy's team centered around his trafficking allegations and that there was a disagreement on how they needed to handle that part of the federal indictment when they go to trial. And the big disagreements causing him to step down are the count 2 of trafficking, and all of these have to do with victim 1, who we can believe is Cassie Ventura. And Cassie Ventura had just announced her 3rd pregnancy just days before this lawyer dropped out, which means most likely when Diddy's trial starts in 3 months, Cassie Ventura is still going to be pregnant when she takes that stand to testify against Diddy, which is very bad for Diddy's case because it's going to make people feel bad for her, especially when they watch that video in court of Diddy dragging Cassie and hitting her in that hallway. Now, we know that Agnifilo has repeatedly denied Diddy's trafficking charge and has said since the beginning that this was a consensual relationship between Diddy and a girlfriend and a third party. But we also know 2 days before this lawyer also dropped out, Diddy filed a motion to dismiss count 3 of the indictment entirely. In my opinion, I feel like Diddy literally told on himself in this motion. It was the worst motion I've ever heard in my life. Diddy was basically saying that the Mann Act that he's being charged under is a racist act. But not only that, he was basically trying to say that the escorting service that he used was perfectly legal. Diddy said it's not some secret underground operation that was previously unknown that he used. It has been operating for over a decade and it has a website with over 10,000 followers on X. In this motion, Diddy, in my opinion, is basically admitting to the fact that he got these escorts but used them for physical relationships, which is illegal. The second that you pay somebody for physical relations, that is what makes it exactly what Diddy is being charged for. But he kind of tries to brush it off on this company, and he says it's well known that escorts from this company sometimes indeed regularly have physical relationships with their clients. The company does not explicitly advertise the services, but it does not forbid or discourage it. And because of the way Diddy was writing this motion, I actually figured out what service he was using. So he talks about how there was a TV show of this escort service and how it's a legal service, and it is, but it's not for having physical relations. These men's jobs are only to take women on dates. The show that was on Showtime was Gilligos, which takes you to their website and their Twitter handle, which is Cowboys for Angels. And this is the service that Diddy is admitting to himself in this motion of using to hire these male escorts for physical relationships, which would then make it illegal. Now, in this motion, Diddy's basically saying that this company is not discouraging you from having physical relationships with these escorts, but actually they are, because any person would know that this makes it illegal. Diddy, this is exactly why they don't advertise it like you say in your own motion. In their website, they say, unfortunately, there is a social stigma that male companions are for providing physical services. However, this is not what we do here. Companionship, conversation, and quality time are the most important aspects of the dates that we schedule. At Cowboys for Angels, we pride ourselves in providing our clients with undivided attention and engaging in intelligent and witty conversations. Now, it's been alleged multiple different times throughout the news that there are male escorts that are actually testifying against as witnesses. Some of them even say that they have video footage, and this is exactly when I started to think about one of these guys being Jonathan Odie. I'm sure you guys remember the video of Jonathan Odie way back in 2018 talking about all of this crazy stuff and how he had a physical relationship with Diddy and Cassie and how he was basically their slave and how he ended up getting a STD from sleeping with Diddy. He even said at one point in time he sued Diddy over this, and Diddy paid him a settlement of $5 million to basically keep it hush hush. And during this interview with police, Jonathan Odie also said that it might be possible for him to get video proof that he has of something. I've started doing more digging into Jonathan Odie. I was really curious if there was a connection between this Cowboys for Angels and Jonathan Odie. And it's really hard to find any information. His Instagram is now privated. His Facebook had nothing except one picture on it. But I was able to come across this picture of Jonathan Odie. And this picture is very similar to the Cowboys for Angels pictures of their escorts. So I think it could be very possible that Jonathan Odie might have worked for Cowboys for Angels. And just think, Diddy puts out this stupid motion 2 days before this lawyer quits, and they also know that they have multiple witnesses that are allegedly escorts that have testified against Diddy and even gave video footage of these freak-offs. To me, it makes a little bit more sense why this lawyer would probably want to quit about these charges. TMZ also says that their sources said that Anthony Rico grew frustrated when his efforts to speak directly to Diddy about legal strategies were stopped by the co-counsel, and that's why he felt he could no longer properly defend him anymore. They can't agree on a legal strategy, and he also wanted to talk to him by himself and probably tell him, Diddy, this is what you need to do because right now it's not looking so hot, but they were trying to stop him from doing that. TMZ was also told by this source that Anthony Rico strongly believed that their counsel would not be ready to go to trial by May 5th. He told them that they should ask the judge for more time, but the co-counsel strongly disagreed on this, which is another reason why Anthony Rico said, all right, I'm out. So to me, in my opinion, it seems like Anthony Rico dropped out on Diddy because he basically knows Diddy's screwed. And honestly, I really thought that this motion that Diddy put in 2 days before this lawyer decided to drop out was going to have something to do with it. Because in my opinion, basically in this motion, Diddy is admitting to what he's done, but yet he's arguing about the fact of the service of the escorts being a legal service, which it is until you use it for physical relationships. Then that makes it illegal. And on top of that, you have the victims in this case saying that it was not consensual, that they were given substances, and all of the above. So in my opinion, this looks really, really bad for Diddy. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Diddy's...
Well, she said a mouthful, right? And it just goes to say, the point I wanted to make in that more so was the fact that sounds like there was infighting within Diddy's team, and that's not unusual. That actually happened in R. Kelly's case, but we knew what was going on because a lot of those things played out in the courtroom. The judge actually had a hearing and wanted to hear the lawyers out, and I remember a lot of those hearings were available to hear over the phone. But nevertheless, sounds like this is the lawyer that dropped out, Anthony Rico. I didn't know he was a brother at first, but she, according to her, and according, I guess it came from TMZ, that he wanted to talk to Diddy directly, but he's being blocked from doing so. Sounds like only Agnifilio probably and Garagos has the authority to speak to Diddy directly. It sounds like things may be being kept from Diddy, or, they're tailoring the conversations to benefit them. I don't know, but I think that we had it right in saying that this guy dropped out because he either saw some evidence or he just doesn't like the way that things are going as far as on Diddy's side, and that he's not ready, she said, to go to trial in May. May is going to be here any second. We're already at the end of February. So that being said, in another update in Diddy's case, let me refresh this page. 1 second. Diddy's making another big request, which says to me, again, he's got a lot to hide. So in this motion that was just filed last night, I think, they're asking Diddy's team lawyers, they're asking to suppress evidence from the raids And a lot of it is redacted, so it's not visible for us to see exactly what the issue is for them. But I'm going to read, it's a 30-page document, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to read this introduction and a couple of points made in here so we can get an idea of what exactly about those raids, what about the evidence are you trying to suppress? Now, in the introduction of this, it says the government has a duty of candor when it seeks warrants. The nature of the proceeding mandates secrecy, so the process is not adversarial. Precisely for that reason, investigators have an obligation to present a fair picture of the evidence, including both inculpatory and exculpatory facts. While investigators need not present a magistrate with every bit of evidence they have discovered, they must nonetheless include a reasonably even-handed account, and they cannot omit critical exculpatory facts that might undermine a finding of probable cause. As the Second Circuit has instructed, investigators should include evidence if it is the kind of thing the judge would wish to know in determining whether probable cause exists. They do cite some case law here, and they're saying in this case that the government has failed to do so. It sought several warrants to search Mr. Combs' residences, his electronic devices, and his person, and it presented a grossly distorted picture of the facts. It included only inculpatory facts, and it excluded critical exculpatory evidence that was indisputably in its possession at the time. The government claimed victims were coerced into sex, but it failed to inform the magistrate that, and then there's something blanked out. It also failed to inform the magistrate that it possessed text messages between the alleged victims and Mr. Combs. The applications were intentionally misleading, which at minimum requires a Frank's hearing. So now they want another hearing about the evidence. So it sounds like to me they're complaining that some things they're probably just now seeing was held from them initially. And they're saying these things were very important. They say the warrants themselves are grossly overbroad. And they're basically now saying that the warrants that they had were given too much leeway in those warrants for the charges that they're bringing about. It says on a theory that Mr. Combs' entire life was a criminal enterprise, the government sought virtually limitless authority to seize any evidence related to that enterprise. All his digital devices and the information they contained, all information in his iCloud accounts, plus troves of records and items in his houses, almost none of which was contraband. They're citing some more case law here. They said Judge Nathan, in this case, found similar warrants unconstitutional. Here, the government obtained authority to rummage at will among Mr. Combs' private effects. Perhaps most troubling, the government received essentially limitless authority to search Mr. Combs' digital devices, which contained a vast trove of personal information, they're saying. The Supreme Court and Second Circuit have repeatedly warned that it is especially important that digital device searches must be limited and particularized. The warrants were not. The warrants were thus unconstitutional general warrants, and the evidence obtained through those warrants must be suppressed. Wow. So they're referring to the numerous search warrants. They had one, they said on January 4th, 2024. And this was a warrant to obtain all information in Combs' iCloud accounts. Then on March 22nd, 2024, it received 2 warrants to search Combs' residences in Los Angeles on Mapleton Drive and Miami on Star Island Drive. Both applications were based on substantially identical affidavits sworn by Homeland Security Special Agent Sean Quinn. 3 days later, on March 25th, the government obtained an additional warrant to search Combs' person and seize and search 2 of his cell phones. And there's a footnote to that to say that paragraph citations herein are to the Los Angeles warrant. Basically, they're saying they mirrored each other. They say the warrants sought to obtain evidence related to possible crimes of racketeering, as trafficking, and obstruction of justice. The list of items to be seized at the residences was incredibly broad, spanning pages, and included, among other categories, all digital devices found within the residences. The list of information to be obtained from the devices was similarly broad. But as detailed below, the warrant applications presented a grossly distorted picture of reality. The government had in its possession, for example, a variety of evidence, including, and they blanked out something here, and they say that suggests that victim one's participation in the alleged freak-offs was voluntary and consensual, not coerced, as the government suggested in its applications. The government claims something else being blanked out here was based primarily on statements from producer one, an utterly unreliable witness whose claims were contradicted by other evidence that government failed to mention. And I think that's Little Rod. I'm not positive. It says also the government's obstruction allegations were based largely on text and statements taken out of context, a critical part of the context being that, and it's blanked out. The affiant also failed to mention that nearly every witness he interviewed had blank, giving them a financial motive to fabricate or embellish. They say the probable cause statements were intentionally misleading, but it worked. The government got its warrants, leaked damaging information, and then executed its military-style raids at Combs's residences. Through this duplicity, the government obtained evidence, including multiple electronic devices with an enormous amount of information about his entire life, and an enormous unfair tactical advantage. It continued to press its advantage, obtaining an indictment and multiple additional warrants, which were also incredibly broad. So they're arguing different things like the Fourth Amendment, and they're arguing what the defendant has to show in order to suppress the evidence, which I guess they're saying they're going to present, or they're presenting here. And they're saying that false statements were made in order to get the warrants. They're also saying the government hid critical exculpatory evidence regarding victim one's consent to and financial motive, and that, I believe, is Cassie. They're continuing to talk about the freak-offs. A lot of this is redacted. Most of it is redacted. And they're saying that whatever they're redacting, they're saying is important evidence, and they show the context of the relationship. And they also say that they're the kind of thing that any magistrate judge would wish to know when reviewing a warrant application in a trafficking case. They're saying, but the warrant applications contained did not even hint of this stuff. They didn't even inform the magistrate judge that this evidence existed. What else are they saying? The government's warrant application hid critical exculpatory evidence regarding credibility of other witnesses. And they're naming a sex worker, one, as well as an assistant, one. I'm wondering if it's the assistant that was in that documentary. They're also naming a producer, one, which I think is Little Rod, and a victim 2 and a victim 3. And most of this stuff is redacted, so we don't even know what their issues are. But it also says there's a victim 4. And they're saying the government didn't make an effort to corroborate victim 4's claims. And basically saying that the misrepresentations and misleading omissions in the warrants, they're frequent and patterned. The affiant omitted, for example, all the information about the witness's blank and financial motives to fabricate. So they say trafficking, like child pornography, is so repulsive a crime that those entrusted to root it out may, in their zeal, be tempted to bend or even break the rules. And they're citing some case law here. They say when the government investigators cheat to obtain warrants, they endanger the freedom of us all. They're saying that the warrants also included misstatements and omissions. And again, they're going over the relationship between he and victim one, which I believe is Cassie, calling it a long, complicated, and often loving relationship. So, they're continuing to try to dial down the abuse, the coercion, and, the other very layered psychological things that have, taken place within the relationship. So yeah, you can't read really through it because of the redactions, but they said the government here unfortunately demonstrated a damn the torpedoes full speed ahead mentality, and again stating that the warrants were unconstitutionally broad. They say in a series of warrants, it thus sought authority to search and seize anything in his iCloud, his residences, his cellular phones, his hotel room. The only limitation was that evidence had to be related to the subject offenses, but because the theory was that his entire life was a racketeering enterprise, that was no limitation at all. So they're citing the Fourth Amendment and saying it forbids general warrants. And they're just basically complaining that the warrants were limitless and that it wasn't fair to Mr. Combs. Let's see. They're saying that the government claimed the right to seize, among other things, evidence of Mr. Combs' location or anything reflecting the location of any conspirator or witness, which according to the government seems to mean anyone who ever worked for Combs or went to a party. Also, utility bills, mail correspondence, address books, all calendars or scheduling information, including travel records, all financial records, including bank statements and credit card statements, plus all cash, property deeds or titles, or anything related to property ownership, plus any evidence relating to online financial accounts, any sex toys, sexually suggestive clothing, whatever that means, plus any medical supplies or other materials possibly related to sex, plus any bodily fluid or other material that might contain DNA evidence, any communication or record of communication with any former sexual partner or employee of the business of the Combs business, plus any communication related to the charged offenses, which was, as noted, defined incredibly broad, with any possible victim, co-conspirator, or witnesses, corporate records, including corporate organizational and ownership documents and employment records, any digital device that might contain evidence, including phones, computers, iPads, and cameras. These descriptions were often written with catch-all clauses with regular use of phrases such as including without limitation and including but not limited to. So they continue to talk about the iCloud accounts and the cell phones. They're saying it was just too broad. And it sounds to me like they're extremely worried about the contents of the things that they gathered, obviously. If he didn't have anything to hide or if he was innocent, as so they say, they shouldn't have a problem with whatever they got, in my opinion. So they're continuing to cite more case law. In conclusion, they say, for the foregoing reasons, the court should suppress the evidence and all fruits obtained from the warrants to search Combs' residences, his person, his iCloud account, his devices. These warrants were unconstitutionally broad. In the alternative, at a minimum, this court should order a Franks hearing to hear additional evidence and determine whether the warrants were improperly obtained through deception. And of course, his lawyers signed off on this. Wow, wow, and wow. GT said, I guess they like being denied by the judge. Too bad, so sad. When you are a criminal, you should be treated as one. That includes your devices being searched. Exactly. Seems like a pretty regular search warrant or for federal trafficking case. I agree. Thank you for the bells, Wild Wayne. Yeah, I agree with you, GT. I think that it's typical. I don't think it was anything specific to Sean Combs. It's just that because of the nature of his charges, of course, it's going to be broad because it goes into every area of his life, right? So I guess we'll have to see. I mean, of course, the government is going to respond to this, and then they probably going to come back and respond again. But they're asking for a hearing, so we're going to have to see what the judge has to say. At the end of the day, it is up to the judge. But I'm going to move on to Buzbee. Good old Buzbee. Let me see. Let me pull up. Buzbee. So, we had talked about this, how Buzbee, who, obviously, if you've been following this case, you know that Toni Buzbee is one of the main civil attorneys who's been going after Diddy. He's been, has over 50 cases that he's filed against Diddy with very serious charges. And it seems that some of these things filed in the Southern District of New York that he has been leading the charge on, he didn't have authority to do. He wasn't authorized. So I guess he did kind of a late filing to get that authorization, and the court seemingly has denied his filing. It says here, the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York has denied Anthony Buzbee's request to be admitted after discovering he had previously appeared in cases without proper approval. If he applies again, he must include this decision in his request. And that is crazy to me that he would have moved forward in doing these things without the proper authority to do so, knowing the consequences could really blow back on him and the victims rather than Diddy. Now, somebody is adding some context in the comments. She's saying, since they didn't explain the post, this post shows a court order from the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York denying Anthony Buzbee's petition for admission to practice in that court. And what this means is that Anthony G. Buzbee filed a request on January 29, 2025 to be admitted as an attorney in the Southern District of New York. The Committee on Grievances reviewed the case and found that Buzbee had previously appeared in cases before this court without seeking formal admission. Because of this, the court denied his petition for admission. If Buzbee wants to apply again in the future, he must include this order with any future motion or petition. Why this matters, they say this suggests that Buzbee may have practiced in Southern District of New York without proper authorization. His denial could impact the ability to represent clients in federal court in New York. This could also raise ethical and procedural concerns about how he has been handling legal proceedings. It's definitely not a good look. I believe he had added some New York attorneys onto some of his cases, and this is probably why. And I just question why he didn't assign this to an attorney who had the authorization to do this. So here's the actual filing with the denied stamp on here. Basically, they're saying Mr. Buzbee had appeared in these cases in this court without seeking admission. Therefore, the petition is denied. In the event Mr. Buzbee moves for pro hac vice or regular admission in this court, he must attach a copy of this order to his motion or petition. And I believe that's like when a person represents themselves. So maybe he's saying that if he wants to change that to the filings to the people representing themselves, and maybe he's going to counsel them like on the side, he has to include that to anything he does moving forward in this district. So Buzbee did have something to say about this. Here's his statement. He said, I received many press, no effort to respond to most. I prefer rather to just make a general statement one time and let the various entities use that statement as they see fit. Over the past week, I've gotten multiple inquiries from friends and colleagues with concern asking why I was barred from practicing law in the New York State and offering their assistance. I myself have seen several press agencies, some borderline legitimate, reporting that same trash. Let me be clear. I'm licensed to practice law in New York. I'm in good standing with the bar and have always been. Although I prefer Texas, I'm proud of the work we are doing in New York. Don't believe the clickbait or dramatic headlines. Most of what's reported nowadays is pure bunk. Well, I find that interesting because it shows an actual filing being denied by the judge. So maybe, and he's not specific to the Southern District in this statement. So maybe he's just saying in general, he's able to practice law in New York. And he's basically trying to stay away from the Southern District itself. And it's kind of head scratching. It's also being reported, let's see, his lawsuit against Jay-Z is dismissed and not coming back. And now Tony Buzbee is trying to ensure he can keep litigating his other lawsuits against Diddy because his admission application in the Southern District of New York was denied. And then she says, as the order says, Buzbee can seek pro hac bias admission. And that's what he's doing now in the Diddy lawsuits, or trying to at least. And then she says the judge in this particular lawsuit, McCrary versus Combs, ordered Buzbee to apply for pro hac bias admission after she figured out what was going on. Wow. Yeah, and he has to attach, like I said, he has to attach that order to everything he does file moving forward. Wow, wow, wow. He has so many cases, like literally dozens and dozens of cases that he's filed in this district alone. And I don't know. It's like, why? I was also a little bit annoyed with him doing all this while this RICO is going on. But now we have this on top of that, and that's not a good look. That's crazy. Okay, I guess I'm gonna move on, child. It's a quiet chat today. Juti, you saying that you want the judge's sass again on Diddy asking for that hearing and asking to suppress all that evidence? Yeah, I'm very curious to see how the judge is going to respond to that. Let's see. I'm moving on to which story is next here. Yeah, I think I'll move on to Asian Doll response to Kash Doll. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these rap dolls fighting. They're going back and forth with each other. I'm actually a big fan of Kash Doll. Let me put their pictures up real quick. Kash Doll actually is also an actress. She played in the BMF series. I believe her character was died off. But this is Kash Doll. And she claims the other dolls came after her and stole the doll name. And she's been being very vocal. She actually interviewed on Club Shay Shay as well recently. And I think her profile was heightened because of her appearance on the BMF series. If you guys don't remember, if you watched that series, she was she was what's his name? I forgot his name already. Demetrius, the lead, who the son is playing. She played his love interest or one of his children's mothers, I think. But then she was messing around with that one serious crazy dude. His name is escaping me right now, but anyway, she and this is Asian Doll. Now she and Asian Doll have been going back and forth. There's another one who's more quiet, and I think they don't have as much problems between each other. But this one right here, it became real serious because she actually implicated herself and her baby daddy, from what I could read, or her team, if she called them, in conspiracy to unalive Kash Doll. She tweeted these things, or she put it on Instagram. I think she since deleted it because she probably saw in the comments people are like, "You snitching on yourself." She actually, it says the feud between Kash Doll and Asian Doll intensified after the former urged the latter to get in the booth. So Kash Doll, the one I said, the one with the pink on, Kash Doll, she was the one just saying, let's just put it in let's go to the booth. We can do it in the booth. Like, she's not interested in any other type of fighting. Now, mind you, this one here is currently pregnant. And then Kash Doll has, I think, at least 3 children, if not more, but she has 3, and one of them is like under a year old, I think. So she just had a baby recently. So these are mothers. Okay. But Asian Doll, this one here, she not that smart. Now, it says that the feud between Kash Doll and Asian Doll has intensified after the latter shocking threats. On Sunday, the 28-year-old rapper took to social media to reveal that she contemplated causing harm to the Ice Me Out hitmaker at a concert in Dallas, Texas. Her violent remarks came after the 35-year-old allegedly urged the Blood on My Hands crooner to take their feud to the booth. Kash and Asian have been feuding since the former claimed on the Club Shay Shay podcast in January that she started the trend of adding doll to one's name. While the duo have been going back and forth online, their feud intensified when Kash allegedly urged Asian Doll to respond to the beef with the music. Okay, let me show y'all what it says here. I have the worst ads. So she basically just Kash Doll's on the left. She said, every day I get online, this YN, which I thought stand for young nigga, but got my name in her mouth. I don't want to argue on Twitter. Let's get in the booth. We get it. I'm old, ugly, and whatever else, but you never got in the booth. I dropped Here I Go in 2019. No response. You're pregnant. Stop talking about me so much because baby girl gonna look like me. Okay, and then it says that a furious Asian responded with the since deleted tweet that read, "My N finna shoot your sprinter up, and I let you live because you got kids and you had them on the road with you. You knew not to say shit yesterday while you was in Dallas. So today you talking all that. You talking shit because you happy you ain't died, B." According to the screenshot shared by the Shade Room's teens on Instagram. Why are they putting that on the teen page? In response to the violent threats, Kash said, "Not you that mad at me, guns involved, LOL. Just get in the booth. That's all I ask, pregnant YN." To which Asian replied, "Yes, guns involved, B. You talking all this? I was in your city, B, and I'm showing you I let you live, B. You would have died in Dallas, Texas, B. I let you live." And this was on her Instagram, child. And then she went on to say, "B, you had 2 kids at 40 years old by a short ass pimp that was just in Cuban doll face." Oh, that's the other one, Cuban doll. "B, you gonna be 60 years old by the time your kids get in middle school, B. Yes, guns involved, B. You talking all this. I was in your city and I'm showing you I let you live." Somebody said, y'all will incriminate yourself for nothing at all. Exactly. Asian shocking threats to Kash sparked outrage among fans as they called for arrest. I think I even said something like, she just snitching on herself and she got a whole conspiracy charge right here. But it says in quotes, y'all will incriminate yourself for nothing at all. Somebody else said, ain't you pregnant? Your motherly instinct hasn't kicked in yet. Get ready to be a mother. What good can you do your child in a box or in jail? So embarrassing. Yeah, it's all true. So, yeah, this is just a very ridiculous beef over nothing. Literally over nothing. So I'm not really understanding, especially, I mean, it's so childish. And this, like I said, the one that is saying all that stuff is actually pregnant. Insane. So clearly, Kash doll hit a nerve and she just didn't know how to respond. She couldn't control her emotions. So I'm going to move on, because I got a couple other things to cover, child. So Megan Thee Stallion, we've been talking about the fact that she is in a case with Milagro Grams, who's a blogger, for defamation and basically just dragging her for years now, actually. And not just regular blog gossiping. This girl, Milagro, has been really vicious when it came to Megan Thee Stallion reporting. And then the proof came out that she had been getting some cash payments from Tory Lanez' father. So that was included in the lawsuit. But now Megan Thee Stallion, they're saying that they want to depose Tory in prison for this particular case. Now, she already got a restraining order on this man, and it was granted. But according to the Rolling Stone, they can actually get him to depose, to talk to them for this case against Milagro. It says rapper can question Lanez under oath for her defamation and cyberstalking lawsuit against pro-Lanez blogger Milagro Cooper. And it says I didn't know she had already been granted permission to do so. So she's been granted permission, and I don't know if he has a choice in the matter. I'm not sure, especially being that he's in prison. And really the case evolves around him in the first place. It's just really weird. I thought I was logged in here, but I guess not. And I don't know if I even have a login. So, but in the meantime, while all this is going on, this is a news story. Tory was literally trying to rap. I guess he was on the phone trying to lay some tracks. He's still trying to rap and lay his tracks down when a whole prison riot broke out. Let me see if this is gonna play. I think there's an ad.
All right, tell me right. I'm right now. I gotta go up. Tell me, you ready? Hey, I can't say I'm the same from last year. You can see the pain inside my eyes and I can't mask it. We was cutting metal off the bone so we could stash it. 500 on his Zella, make him do gymnastics. See that nigga run out to the yard and he got backflip. Crying in the cell so many nights that I got trapped in. I love him every morning and I got trapped in. I got morning I got trapped in.
Sounds like they might have gotten tear gassed or something. But he's out here. He's still trying to rap, still trying to lay. He probably still harassing Megan. In the meantime, it's a whole riot going on behind him. And that's crazy. And that's just the realness of being in prison, child. He's in real life prison. He's not in county. But yeah, I thought that was crazy. I'm gonna move on to R.I.P. Gotti real quick. He passed away. R.I.P. R.I.P. Gotti. He was the CEO of Murder Inc. Records, and he had a long history in hip hop. I think we talked about him. I don't think when I talked about him, we knew he was for sure deceased. They said that he wasn't responsive, but people were saying their goodbyes. But yeah, he has since officially passed. He already had his funeral. It was a private funeral from my understanding, but a lot of celebrities were there, including Jay-Z. But his brother did an interview recently, and in the interview, he talked about his brother's health and the fact that he had diabetes, and that it sounded like he was in denial of the fact that he was in diabetes. He really just kept eating whatever he wanted to eat and doing what he wanted to do as far as his lifestyle was concerned. And so during the interview, his brother disclosed that, his last meal, he ate a bunch of Chinese food and he was playing poker. Now, Chinese food is very, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess I'll just say salty. It has a lot of salt. Salt. What's the word I want? Nevertheless, it's not healthy if you're trying to manage your health to stay alive. Most people can just eat that and keep it moving. But if your health is in dire straits, you really are supposed to be, looking out for yourself. But it sounds like he wasn't doing that. So I just really want to bring this up to kind of say, let's take care of ourselves and be mindful of our bodies and our personal lifestyles. Is it really worth it? I guess if you just want to go out with a bang and you don't really want to follow no rules and you don't want people telling you what to do, because a lot of people have that mindset. Like, I'm just going to do the opposite because I don't like people telling me what to do. And if you don't mind leaving your family behind early, because he was, I believe, in his 50s. Let's see if it says it here. But he was too young, He had a lot to offer still. From what I understand, he had a great business mind. He told some really good stories. And he had a whole family that he was taking care of. So I'm pretty sure he left them in good standing and with, plenty of money and whatnot. But usually it's the case that the people, would prefer you stick around, So it's just really sad that he just kind of said F you to his health, according to his brother, at least. I don't know how truthful his brother was. I'm pretty sure he was being honest. There's no reason for him to have lied. What's going on, Baby Yoda? Yeah, R.I.P. R.I.P. Gotti. So I wanted to move on to this, which I found very interesting. It says a lot about not just Vlad and his federal law enforcement connections or whatnot, but also what it's looking like since Diddy and a lot of these people being caught up with things that are happening so long ago. I wanted to play some of this interview. Let me see. With Whack 100, which usually I don't agree with Whack 100. I don't even have time to believe anything he says, but it's more so what Vlad says, and he reveals some things. So let's take a listen.
Well, you said that Drake will face Puff Daddy.
Hold on, they're talking about Drake at first and how Drake could possibly be facing some P. Diddy charges because Drake has been rumored to have been involved in such things that Diddy has done. Okay, let me see if the speaker is connected.
Well, you said that Drake will face Puff Daddy scrutiny this year.
He said in the year of 2025, Drake will be under Puff Daddy scrutiny. Remember, I told you that. I don't want it to happen. But 90% of the artists were practicing some of the same acts that they thought was innocent. They got their bag up, they got their money up, they fly out, they fly girls out, they bring them back, they have sex, they send them on their way. You know how the feds are moving now? They say you were breaking the law. So this is what I'm saying. I know for a fact there's a two-headed monster that works up there. They built you up, now they want to tear your ass down. Your words, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Word for word.
Right.
Do you agree or disagree?
Let me put it like this. I spoke to a lawyer today about some older videos I had about certain people accusing a certain music executive of acts with underage boys and stuff like that. And this lawyer was very adamant about being proactive about taking this stuff down and everything else like that. And I'm working with them and so forth. I'm not, although I do know a lot of stuff and so forth, I'm like, okay, I'm going to work with these guys, maybe take out certain parts of videos and so forth. But I feel there's a general fear throughout the industry that people's past sexual exploits are going to come back up in this year.
Now, let's be real, Vlad. It's a common practice. DM, what's up? Number. Yo, where you from? Oh, is that right? Well, we doing this weekend in Miami. You want to come down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Get down there, chilling in the room. Things happen. She there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Time she wake up, it's her ticket. They going on the jet. She back to Tennessee, right? As the federal statute states today, if you fly somebody in or transport somebody, even in vehicle, for the sole purpose of having sex, Lord forbid is anything else involved as a narcotic or a drug or liquor, they're saying it's a federal violation of
human trafficking.
It's
Sex trafficking.
1910 sex trafficking, human trafficking. This is what they're using against us. Right? And you're not going to, Drake is Drake. Do I think he's a sex trafficker? No. But by the statute they're using to take people down, they absolutely can probably go out there and find 5, 10, 15, 20 individuals, whether they come in form of criminal or civil. When those things are filed, what starts to happen?
Yeah.
Sponsorships, endorsements.
Yeah.
They start to,
and then people start coming out the woodwork. Listen, I have friends,
anything wrong.
Listen, I have friends at TMZ that have told me some very interesting stories about Drake when he first moved to Calabasas and first started getting money and some of the exploits and his friends and liquor and parties and girls and drugs and the aftermath of some of these situations. I'm not going to go into any details, but it seemed like early on able to dodge a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff was being swept under the carpets and,
They went 40 years on Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Puff shit's 25, 30-something years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you swept it under the rug at that time.
Yeah.
But
it's a lumpy rug.
It's
a lumpy rug.
Right. Yeah. And I'm saying you keep challenging that monster up there. They build you up. They'll tear your ass down. At some point, and man, I hate to say it, yo, Drake, you still the man, bro. We still bump your shit. The women still love you. You still settle out stadium tours. Yo, this gotta be the most diabolical victory. Kendrick hands, matter of fact, look, bro. Cube took down NWA, right? Which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kendrick's not even saying a word. He's dropped a whole nother album. Going to do the Super Bowl.
Right.
And now Drake's in the trick bag. UMG is saying what? You don't sue Kendrick, you can't sue us.
Mm-hmm.
So what you think his next move gonna be? Do you think he's gonna do it? If you know.
I think he's gonna do it.
If Drake
he's gonna do it.
Files a lawsuit on Kendrick Lamar, for lyrics and a battle rap that you willingly participated in, that you took low blow shots at this man about his family, his children, his best friends, his business partners, and Kendrick hasn't uttered a word. He just, bro, we Clarissa Shields in here. You giving, I'm taking.
Yeah.
If he files out on Kendrick, it's over, bro. He can't do that.
Yeah, but I think he will.
You think he's that?
You can't just sit there and file this major lawsuit against UMG and you say that your son had to be taken out of school because of safety reasons, and it's this huge major, like hundreds of millions of dollars at stake and so forth. And they're saying, if you don't sue Kendrick, this whole thing gets dropped. You think he's going to say, okay, I just won't sue Kendrick? He's already essentially suing. He's doing a third-party lawsuit of Kendrick, essentially, right?
No, he's not.
Listen, what I'm saying is,
if he wanted to sue Kendrick, he would have did it out the gate. But he knows he can't.
And this is the first time I actually agree with Wack. I typically don't. I feel you, GT. I'm not a fan of Vlad. I just happened to hear this, and I was like, Drake. So what's being said here by Wack especially is that Kendrick is right. I'm sorry. Drake currently is vulnerable for having some old situations pop up on him through federal charges because of the fact that he's not being protected anymore by his label because he's now involved in this whole back and forth beef lawsuit because of him filing against them. And now the label is not going to protect him how they were protecting him in the past. The labels are the ones typically who are paying off settlements. They're covering stories up, and they're doing everything they can to make sure their artists can continue to make them the money they've been making them. But now that Drake has put them in this position, they may even work against him and helping to put things out there and helping to get things pushed along in their favor against him. So it'll be very interesting to see how all of that plays out and whether or not something actually does come up on Drake. I've been seeing some little rumblings online about activities with minors, and there's whole Twitter accounts dedicated to putting information out there against Drake, which is not unlike a lot of artists. A lot of artists have anti-accounts out there, but because Drake is who he is, and he's in this whole high-profile beef situation with Kendrick, and people are very passionate about this beef now. And because Drake did the stupidest thing he could, which is to go against his own label the way that he has, it could blow back on him. So I guess, like all these other things, time is going to tell. What else did I want to talk about? I saw this in the LA Times today. They're saying ICE agents may be planning a major operation in LA, and they're telling people basically how to handle this if they come knocking on your door. And I read the article, and basically they're saying that the LA Times has some inside information that at the end of this month, there's going to be a big deportation operation here in LA, and that it won't even, it's not just against big entities like going into businesses or going into very populated places like downtown LA, but also knocking on people's doors. So they're saying, if your paperwork is not right, if you know that you're not supposed to be here, you might want to bury yourself in a basement. Or they're basically saying, don't answer the door. And if they have a warrant, then that you have to adhere to make sure it's the proper paperwork, make sure it's accurate and valid. And it's scary stuff. It's very scary stuff. So that is the end of this month is upon us. There's only a few more days. So we're going to see, what happens on that. But it's like, they're not playing when it comes to this. And Trump is trying, I think, do as much as he can while he can. Because I feel like some things may be going against him now. I've seen some things online. For instance, let's see. There's a story that he's been blocked from the DEI rollbacks that he's trying to do by a federal judge. I know I saw that story on here. I believe it was here on Instagram. And, this is interesting. Elon Musk was forced to reveal who really owns X. I think Diddy is also one of the owners. They're calling X they're calling it a collector of information of people. So I don't feel like listening to this guy. I thought it was going to be something I could read, but there's a lot of people in the government that are filing lawsuits against Trump. And I don't know how this is going to go. Here's the story about the DEI programs that the judge blocked him from targeting. A federal judge has largely blocked the President Trump's executive orders aimed at ending government support for diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. U.S. District Judge Adam Abelson issued a preliminary injunction, injunction preventing the administration from altering federal contracts related to equity. Sounds like they're focusing on the equity part. And this is just one of many judges that are getting involved because Trump is doing a whole lot. Oh, another thing that I had failed to mention previously is that the Tupac Shakur's murder trial has been postponed to 2026 as new evidence allegedly suggests suspect Keffe D's innocence. Now, the defense, Keffe D's defense, has brought up some people, including Diddy, and now Reggie Wright Jr., who was a former LAPD officer. He's also on YouTube, and he's been implicated as well. And Suge Knight just did an interview recently, I think on Art of Dialogue, and he was saying that Snoop Dogg is one of the many people trying to get him bailed out or maybe taken out because they don't want to be implicated, because they say he's talking a lot. Now, I think it was Kim or Beautiful Spirit who told me that Keffe D was missing from the last couple of hearings they had, and one of them was the hearing for that fight that he had. So I'm not sure what's going on with him. It could be health related, but I don't know. I don't know if he's already concerned about making it to trial when it was this year. So now they're postponing it for a whole other year. I don't know how that's going to be for him. He's saying he's attacked left and right. They showed that fight in an actual video on the news, and they interviewed him while they had him handcuffed against the wall. And they asked him if there was something in particular going on between him and that guy. And he said he's getting attacked all the time. So I don't know how this is going to go for him, having to wait a whole other year for this thing to go to trial. And the trial itself is not looking good for him either. So, I've been already past the hour. Juti, did you see the YouTuber who was making A minors get undressed and Drake was paying for her whole setup, like her cam and mic? No, I didn't see that. I did not see that. You said it was a YouTuber? Wow. See, but that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things coming out about him in that kind of area of the A minors and stuff. I don't know what new evidence, girl. They haven't, they didn't give specifics, but like I said, I've been listening to different people's interviews and different things, and it's not looking good. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably on, I'm pretty sure I can probably find it on TikTok. But now that TikTok has come back, they're actually now going through the meta It's not free and clear as it was before, where we're seeing all this stuff. Like, I don't even see a lot of news on my feed anymore. Now it's like going through the Facebook and Instagram controls. So it's not the same, but I'm pretty sure I can find it if it's out there, maybe on Twitter. I'm gonna look for it. But I'm gone over my little time here. There's a couple more things, like Portia from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Her ex-husband has been detained by ICE very curiously, even though he's been on the watch since the 80s. He's been back and forth. People are saying he'll be back next month. And some weird situation with some caskets showing up at DJ Khaled's house. We had R.I.P. Drake. And then that 69 rapper, one showed up at his house saying R.I.P. King Von, who's already passed away. I kind of felt like Khaled had that set up for him to make him look like a victim, when he was really sending a message to Drake, because Drake embarrassed him when he's trying to roll out his new album, talking about there's going to be 2 songs from Drake on there. And Drake commented, you must be talking about Drake Bell. And I think that embarrassed Khaled. And I don't think he was too happy about that. And, you know, Khaled and Diddy are very tight, even though Diddy is where he is. And I haven't heard Khaled speak one way or another about Diddy, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't fall too far from the Diddy tree when it comes to handling situations. I don't think he would let somebody embarrass him like that. It was just interesting that it said R.I.P. Drake, but it's being delivered to Khaled's house. That doesn't make any sense. And how did your security let that through? Because you did it. That's why. That's my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to end this here. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Happy Monday. Hope you have an amazing week and rest of your day, of course, and evening. And I will talk to you on the next one. Peace and love, and go out there and make a difference, child. Till next time, bye.